What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2025 movie Captain America Brave New World. So this movie is directed by Julius Onah, and in this movie, after meeting with newly elected President Thaddeus Ross, Sam finds himself in the middle of an international incident, and he must discover the reason behind a nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. So I think this was a pretty good movie. I actually think this movie's kind of underrated. I've actually watched it like 3 times with it in this last week and everything, because I watched it with a couple friends and then watched it by myself and everything. So I've seen it enough to know that I do like this movie quite a bit. I think it's pretty good. I've always loved Sam Wilson, and I think Anthony Mackie is just great as that character. I've always loved him ever since The Winter Soldier and everything. He's one of the things that I really liked about that movie, and I thought he was really good as Captain America. And everything, I just love his version. Danny Ramirez is awesome as Joaquin Torres, the new Falcon. He's really good, and he has really good chemistry with Anthony Mackie. They work really well together and stuff, and I really like him too. He's a fun new sidekick for Captain America. And I absolutely loved Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross. I think he was excellent in this movie. He played him perfectly, and I think he also gave the best performance in the whole movie. He was just absolutely amazing in this movie. I absolutely love him and everything. Harrison Ford is one of those actors you can't go wrong with and everything, and nothing against William Hurt. He was a great actor, and may he rest in peace and stuff, but I always thought he was kind of miscast as Thunderbolt Ross. I think he's better as a character actor that just fits in smaller movies and stuff. I don't think he really was as good as for this type of movie. I'm not saying he was a bad actor. He was great in movies like Michael and Dinner with Friends, I think is the name of it, that I liked quite a bit. He was in quite a few movies that I liked, but I always thought he was just better for those type of movies than an MCU blockbuster and everything. Nothing against him or anything. I don't think he was a bad actor at all. But I think Harrison Ford was a big step up and everything. I think he was actually, this is one of those times where he got kind of a big upgrade, which you kind of needed it for the Red Hulk. Like, I just can't picture William Hurt turning into the Red Hulk, although it would have been great, awesome to see that pay off finally and everything. But it was awesome seeing Harrison Ford and everything. And speaking of the Red Hulk, I was so excited to see him on the big screen finally and everything. I've wanted to see him on the big screen for years. Yeah, ever since I first had seen him, I think it was in a Hulk cartoon show that I saw him in and everything. I've always was like, we need the Red Hulk in a live action movie. And everything. As far as the rest of the cast goes, Carl Lumbly was excellent as Isaiah Bradley. I absolutely loved him in this movie and everything. He was great. And the action in this movie is cool. It's got some really good action scenes and stuff. Some really cool scenes with the flying and stuff that was inspired by Top Gun and stuff that was really cool. And everything in the directing in those flying scenes is awesome. And I will say that the directing of the whole movie was pretty good. It wasn't as good as, like, say, the Russo brothers' work on the previous 2 Captain America movies, but I think that the director did a really good job with this movie and everything. For all the production problems as it went through, I think it turned out to be a pretty good movie for what it is. Now, I do have some negatives with the movie. The reason I didn't mention the villains and stuff yet was because there have been the negatives for me. They're both very underwhelming and stuff in this movie, especially Sidewinder, who's played by Giancarlo Esposito, I think is how you say his name. I always probably butcher his name. I hope I said it right. But he was great. He's a great actor, and he was fine in the role and everything, but I just felt like he was underused, kind of like Christian Bale was in Thor: Love and Thunder and everything. I feel like they didn't do enough with him and stuff. And well, it's cool seeing Tim Blake Nelson back as Samuel Stearns, and he's excellent in the role. I loved him in The Incredible Hulk. He was one of the things that I really liked about that movie and everything, and seeing him in this was pretty cool. But I will say that I was underwhelmed with him too. I felt like it just could have been, they could have done better with his character too and stuff as far as the villain goes and everything. And I also don't understand why this movie is a sequel to The Incredible Hulk and it's a Captain America movie. That's something I never really understood and everything. I think it would have been a lot cooler to see Red Hulk face off against Bruce Banner's Hulk and everything. But with the way they've done him in the MCU, they can't. He's not really in the place to do it now. But hopefully eventually we'll get the Ranger Green Hulk back and everything. I miss old Hulk. But all in all though, I think this is a pretty good movie. I thought it was entertaining. It has its flaws and everything, but it's not too bad. And I don't think it's near as bad as some people say it is. I hear a lot of people say it's one of the worst MCU movies and stuff, and I don't think it's near as bad as they say it is. In fact, I would go as far to say it's one of the Phase 5 movies that I enjoyed quite a bit, which I enjoyed most of Phase 5, but I feel like this one is kind of underrated and stuff and everything. It's not a masterpiece or one of the best by any means, but it's good and everything. It's good enough and everything. Could be better. It's not on par with the original Captain America trilogy, but it's still really good and everything. So I'm gonna say I give Captain America Brave New World a 7 out of 10 and everything. It's a really entertaining movie. Not as good as the first three. The writing isn't near as good and stuff, but it's still a really good time, and I would recommend it for MCU fans. Just tame your expectations and everything. And the other negative that I forgot to mention is I wish that the Red Hulk was in it a little bit more. It was awesome seeing him, and I think that the build up to him was great and everything, and I just hope we get to see him more. I know Harrison Ford is probably expensive, but I hope we get more of him and everything, and that negative will go away if we get more of him. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.